So recently I heard that there are no such things as a broken relationship, only broken people. I wanted to ask you, what do you think of that? Do you think that the reason the relationship is broken is because you are broken? And listen, that is not a slight. That is something that we all deal with. We enter into these marriages, into these relationships with our broken pieces. And deep down, there's a part of us that hopes that this relationship, that the marriage, that even our spouse or a partner is the solution to our brokenness. Now, maybe there's a conscious thought or awareness of that you're carrying this thought. But if you listen carefully to your internal thinking and begin to watch and model, pay attention to what you've modeled in your past. Like, have you hopped from relationship to relationship thinking this one is the right one because you have this idea or belief that if you have the right one, you won't struggle, you won't have the hard times, things won't be challenging for you. They won't get on your last nerve, as you say. And I will challenge you to think and recognize the reason they are getting on your last nerve is because they're hitting the nerve that is the part of you that's broken that God wants to fix and heal and reveal. Now, I am Caneisha Berry. I am a relationship coach, and my clients call me the marriage whisperer. And that is because after working with me for such a short time, they see their marriage completely transform. And that is what I do. And I would love to help you too. But what you have to understand is what you think is the problem is not the problem. So many people struggle to communicate in their marriages. They fight over little things, or they get frustrated because their spouse seemingly don't understand or can't relate, and therefore the intimacy is gone. And so now we begin to think the marriage is over. And that's what happens when two broken people come together. That's the normal course of things, for things to fall apart, for the frustration to be there, for there to be seemingly a disaster. But the disaster isn't happening as an indicator that you're with the wrong person. The disaster is happening because God is saying, I want to heal the brokenness, the pieces that are inside of you that have gone too long without you dealing with, speaking about, communicating about, or even learning about yourself. He wants you to stop running from relationships because things aren't working or because things aren't easy. And he wants you to begin to look within and do the deeper work. And that is called emotional maturity. So I want to share with you guys 3 things you can do to begin to mature emotionally. Because listen, if you are not going to buy into the concept of maturing emotionally, you're not going to have a quote unquote successful relationship. Now, you oftentimes will have to determine your own success, but I'll share with you what I think a successful relationship is. I believe a successful marriage and relationship is one where two people can come together and truly communicate and talk about everything and anything together. One, they know how to express what they emotionally need, and the other person knows how to listen. And so we also understand in an emotional mature relationship that I am not responsible for my partner, but I'm responsible to my partner. And what that means is that I'm going to show up and do my best to be my best self in the relationship. And I'm going to take responsibility for my thoughts, my emotions, my reactions, and my behaviors. Whether good or bad, I'm taking full responsibility. That's what's required in a healthy, successful relationship. Now, if that is not what your thoughts are, your beliefs about a successful relationship, then I would love to hear from you. Share with me, what do you believe is a successful relationship? And because due to your definition, that is going to determine where your relationship goes. So I will tell you, if your idea of success is that it's easy, that you're happy all the time, that you're always getting along, you're in for a world of disappointment. And it's that way of thinking that causes people to run and get out of relationships run to the next one, run to the next one. Because listen, ultimately, God is in the process and in the business of healing you. Healing being our thoughts have often been lost, and our identity has been formulated by this world, our experiences, and the things that we've gone through. So perhaps you think less of yourself, or you think high of yourself, but you think low of others because of your life experiences. And that way of thinking is not God's way of thinking. So the big goal is that God wants you to see you the way he sees you. And when you begin to see yourself and more in the light, in alignment with who God has called you to be, you can begin to see your spouse as God has called them to be. Now, this allows for more empathy and understanding in the marriage. And when you get to that place, you can learn to better communicate to one another, with one another, for one another. That is emotional maturity. So I want to give you clarity, 3 clear things that you can begin to move towards or think about or consider when you want to create an emotional mature relationship. For me, the most important thing is self-awareness. You must begin to learn self-awareness. Self-awareness is not what you do, because most people know what they do when they're hurt, when they're angry, when they're sad. I retreat, I pull away, I fuss people out, I go off. Like, you know what you do. But the self-awareness is, why do you do it? What is the real reason you're doing it? And let me give you a hint. The reason is not because they did something. It's because there's some internal things inside of you that they triggered. The reason people say triggered means that, here's an example. If I say something to you that is a deep belief that you have somewhere inside of you that you believe about yourself, but it's not a positive belief, it's a negative belief, and I say it and trigger that thought or belief that causes you hurt, pain, frustration, shame, rejection. Now you've been triggered. You think it's because of what I said, but it's really because the thought and belief lives inside of you, and I've stirred it up. And so it is your responsibility to begin to recognize and learn what those triggers are and do the work that's required to heal those triggers. The second thing you want to do, I think, once you learn self-awareness, is you must learn to take full responsibility. And that's a hard one, but you have to learn to take responsibility for your thoughts, your reactions, your emotions, your behavior. That is all on you. And the moment we want to blame other people for the reason I act this way is because you said this or you did that. Imagine if, with that kind of thinking, the entire world has to change in order for you to become a better person. And that's honestly not required. What's required is that you recognize that you carry the power, that you are the solution to the problem, and therefore, because it's on you, you can fix it or change it. And time doesn't heal all wounds. Wounds are healed when you decide to do the work. Again, you have to take responsibility. There's a saying that you are not responsible for the things that people have done to you, but you are responsible for how long you allow those things to shape you, form you, and you continue to respond and react in life from that hurt and pain. So I invite you to wake up to the awareness that I'm broken, and that's not a negative thing. We all are. But how is my brokenness affecting my relationships, my marriage, my finances, my life, my career? How is that affecting the life you have and keeping you from the life you want? And when you begin to show up and do that work, that is part of the emotional maturity. And one of the third things you have to do to mature emotionally is you have to learn to set boundaries. And so a boundary most of us struggle with, and I certainly struggle with this one, is believing that we are responsible for another person. We're responsible for their happiness. We're responsible for the way they react. We're responsible to make sure that we take care or do everything they need. No, we're responsible to people, not for people. And what does that mean? I am responsible to be kind to you. I am responsible to be gentle, to be patient, to be loving, to be peaceful. Does those words sound familiar? Those are biblical terms. That's the fruit of the Spirit. Loving, kindness, patience, gentleness. That's what I'm responsible for. I'm responsible to you, not for you. For you means let me do this for them to make sure they don't get upset. Let me do this so that they don't get mad. Let me change my whole schedule around to make you happy. No, I'm not responsible. People aren't responsible for you. They're responsible to you. And when you learn the difference and you learn to really communicate what it is you need effectively without having to go into a tangent, without having to yell and scream and shout and curse people out, when you learn to do those things, you create an environment so that you can have a more successful, loving relationship. I pray that this was a blessing to you. I pray that you would do me a favor, that you would like, share, and subscribe to these videos and let your friends know about what's happening in this very thoughtful world. I want to see you win in relationships. I want to see you emotionally mature so that that's going to filter over into your careers, into your friendships, in every area of your life, so that you can begin to win at this thing called love, marriage, and relationships. Have an amazing day and do something great and amazing for yourself so that you'll be willing to do something amazing and great for others. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.